Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Howson. I forgot to put a mic on there, didn't I? Welcome to Transfer Talk. This is a video where we're going to talk about all of the linked-in players with Manchester United and all of the linked-out players with Manchester United. We've got some really good names here. All of these geezers below. We're talking Willian, we're talking Rakitic, we've got Bale, we've got Boateng. We've got loads to talk about as well. And I actually think that there's something in some of these. But before we get into all of that, look, what I want to talk to you guys about is Dribble. So Dribble are sponsoring this video, and you guys can win. You can win 100 grand of guaranteed prizes, or your share of 100 grand of guaranteed prizes. Now, to do that, you have to qualify to get in there, and you qualify by doing the daily fantasy league, and you can get the app in the description below. And if you use my link, which is in the description below, you can have a free entry into this. Otherwise, it's going to cost you. Now, obviously, we've got a game kicking off at 1 o'clock. You need to get your team in before 1 o'clock every single day, or before the first match kicks off every single day. Let's have a look at the teams that I have got today then. So let's find the one I'm in. I'm in that one. Where's my team? I'll get my team up for you. I am in upcoming. This one. There we go. So this is my team. I've gone for a really Brazilian heavy team, as you can see today, but I think they're going to beat Costa Rica, and I think they're going to beat them heavily. I think Howson was going to keep a clean sheet. I reckon Neymar's about to step up. Marcelo's obviously a creative and goal-scoring defender, so I've gone pretty heavily on Brazil, and Milinkovic-Savic in the mix as well. Like I said, you can win 20 grand, but you can win your share of 100 grand in guaranteed prizes, and you only get a free entry if you use my link. So I can give you a free entry for joining, and I'm also giving away some banging prizes on Twitter as well, just for you sharing the link and helping get many people as possible download it on my link. So if you use the link below, screenshot your team for today, hit me with a retweet, tell people to go download Dribble. I'm going to be giving away a shirt of your choice, so any of these ones that you can see here already from the World Cup. And because we hit a certain number of downloads, I can give a pair of football boots as well. So you guys come and get in the mixer on that one as well. Right now, let's start talking about the transfers, because that's what we're all here to talk about. So the first one we're going to talk about today then is Jerome Boateng. So Boateng, Bayern Munich defender. Bayern Munich have basically come out and said that if they get the right offer, they're going to let him go, or they're going to listen to the offers for him at least. And is it a case of the papers making that kind of fits and that kind of fits, and 2 + 2 = 4? Is that the sort of thing that they've done? It remains to be seen if United are genuinely interested in him. I'm not hearing that United are interested in him seriously, so I don't know if it's just like it makes sense on all the fronts, so everyone's kind of just going, yeah, let's run with it. Bayern Munich rarely sell players that they think are still at the top of their game. They usually only let players go on their terms, so I find it weird and maybe a little bit suspicious that Bayern Munich are potentially letting somebody go that's at the top of their game, or perceived to be at the top of their game. So I think United should be a bit careful about doing business with them on this. What do you guys reckon? Let me know in the comments. Do you think Boateng is that kind of player? He's not looked amazing so far for Germany at the World Cup. I think the system had a lot to do with that, but I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments, and I'm going to get to some of your comments in a little bit as well. So Skriniar is the next one. So Skriniar, 23-year-old Inter Milan defender, has been linked with United, and according to reports in Italy, United have tabled a £57 million bid, which they've rejected. Skriniar only moved from Sampdoria last season, so you would think he's got a pretty long contract, but as I covered on tomorrow's Transfers Today yesterday for Full-Time Devils, his agent was meeting with Inter today and yesterday. So I think, especially when you think about the sums that he's being asked for a wage, he's looking for about 50 grand a week, which is nothing in the Premier League, is it? So I think that with Skriniar, I think what you're seeing is probably that we've been thrown in there as a potential bit of bait, so the Inter Milan pay them a little bit more. I don't know if he's worth the money that's being quoted for him. He's never really stood out to me. I've watched a couple of his games, but I can't say that, oh yeah, this is definitely the guy that I think is going to come in and absolutely smash it. We've got a couple of comments here about Boateng. Boateng is quality, says Siram. Yo Stephen, says Luke. Yo. We should not get Bale, says Jack. Well, we're going to get to Bale in a second. And Henry says, I can't see James, Bale and Isco all at Real in the next couple of years. I think James is likely a given that he will leave. I don't think Bale and Isco and Asensio will be able to play together. That's very interesting. Would I take Jack Wilshere on a free? Not even to Disneyland, mate. Boateng is slow, says Lou. Skriniar is awesome and worth the money, says Scott. Well, you might have seen a bit more of him than I have, because admittedly I haven't watched a great deal of Skriniar. What I have seen, I've gone, yeah, he's alright, but that's about it, really. Walter says Boateng is good, but we need to stop bringing in players that are close to the end. I mean, what do you mean by close to the end? I mean, he's not really that close to the end, is he? And even, like, we're going to talk about Rakitic in a bit, and people are like, oh, he's old, he's 30. People are complaining that United can't compete with teams at the top. And they're also complaining that the youngsters aren't getting a chance. Well, if you sign someone that's 22, 23, that's going to completely block the road for a youngster coming through. They might as well just leave. But if you sign someone that's 29 and 30, then you've got someone that can mentor them and effectively bring them in. So I don't know. Anthony says Willian is a top signing. Let's get into Willian right now then. So the crack is with Willian. So at times last season United looked massively imbalanced. That's largely due to the fact that there's very few naturally right-sided players and certainly attacking players at the club. Brazilian international Willian has enjoyed some of the best seasons of his career under Jose Mourinho and would undoubtedly be keen to work with him again at Old Trafford after falling out of favour at Chelsea. Now that might change with a new manager coming in, but we just don't know how that's going to go down at Chelsea, does it? Now with Bale though, and we'll get to Bale properly in a second, I think it's one or the other here. I always say this, don't I? I think there's a list. And I think that on the list is probably going to be Bale, there's probably going to be Willian, and there's probably a couple of other names that haven't really materialised just yet. And I think that we're interested in some of those players, if not all of those players. But we're not going to get all of those players. We're going to go, that was our first choice, that was our third choice, can't really get the first choice, second choice, no one's coming back to us. So you end up with your third or fourth choice. But the third or fourth choice is still going to be an absolutely top player, you would hope. Willian is shite, says Ray Glute Spread. Well, I disagree. Shazan says Bale, now or never. Let's sign 24 to 28-year-olds, says Fingers. Look, you got to... It's not just about the age of a player, is it? I mean, if you'd have signed a 30-year-old Ronaldo, is that good value? If you'd have signed a 30-year-old Zlatan, who then went to score 300 goals, if you sign... Look at what happened in Sir Alex Ferguson's last season. We signed an injury-prone, what was he, 29 at the time, Robin Van Persie, 30-year-old Robin Van Persie, and he won us the league. Eric Cantona at the time, people was like, signing him for, he's trouble, he's this, that and the other. Sometimes that one player, regardless of their age, can come in and make an absolute massive difference to the team. Look at Edwin van der Sar when we signed him. What age was he? He was well into his 30s. If they're the right signing, they're the right signing. It doesn't matter what the long-term plan here is. United need to win the league. Jose Mourinho is under massive pressure to win a title. If he needs to sign a 30-year-old to win a title, if he needs to sign a 35-year-old, if he's going to be the difference that makes us win a title, I am all for it. Longley going to Barcelona, says Siram. I think Longley is definitely on our list of centre-halves, 100%. Willian has a winning mentality and we need that in a team. Willian would bring balance to the squad and definitely improve our starting 11, says Mark. Loads of talk about Maguire in the comments. Not feeling it, to be honest, but no, there you go. Right then, let's talk about Gareth Bale. So Gareth Bale, now Zidane has left, Bale's future has been absolutely slung up into the air, but since the Lopetegui appointment, there's been some talk that because Lopetegui speaks English, that's going to make a massive difference. It might, in all honesty, we can't rule it out. We have no idea. We don't know what the relationship with Bale is. If it was purely about the fact he wasn't getting game time, then that might be something that Lopetegui can turn around. If it was other things, if it was like, look, this Spain thing was only ever going to be a 3, 4, 5 year sort of endeavour, and I was always planning on coming back to England, then he was always going to come back to England, and I think United is the likeliest destination out of all of those listed. So it's just one of those, isn't it? Now, I'm not sure, given the issues that we currently have in our squad, that we couldn't find someone, whether that's Sanchez or Rashford, that could play on the right-hand side. I think that you could get a player that is going to fit for us on the right-hand side, and it doesn't necessarily need to be Bale. It doesn't necessarily need to be Bale with the 100+ million transfer that it's going to actually cost us if it is Gareth Bale. I think we've got to fix centre-half. I think we've got to fix the full-backs. And arguably, we've got to find something else in midfield. Whether that's a starter or a backup, I'm not sure. But then we need to look at right-wing. It's low down on the priority list for me. It's pretty low down. I don't think that was the major problem for us. I think moving the ball up through the thirds and attacking with width from the fullbacks properly is where United really needed to invest. Some of the comments that we've got here. Bale is the new Schneider myth. We were never going to sign him, says Ant. You're not going to know. You're right. Age isn't too important, but injury record is. And that's why I don't want Boateng. He'll be another Schweinsteiger. That's from Fingers. Now, I actually did have a look into Boateng's injury record. He doesn't miss that many games, even though on paper it looks like he's been injured quite a lot. Go and have a look on Physio Room and see how many days he's out for. Sometimes it's out for like 1 day, 2 days. But look how many matches he's missing. He's not missing a great deal of matches. Compare that to someone like Bale and how many matches he missed for us last season. You know what I mean? There's a massive difference there. Devandra says Bale is a solution. Rebic is also good, says Wrestling for All. Nathaniel says drop a like, lads. I would agree with that. And subscribe if you're new around here as well. We're doing this every single Friday throughout the transfer window. Give you lads a chance to get involved and have a bit of a chat back as well. Oliver says aren't being linked to left backs properly starting to worry me. No, it's been Sandro, Tierney last week, Sessegnon a little bit at the start of the window. Maybe it's just gone quiet because the journalists are all preoccupied with the World Cup. I hope that's the case, to be honest. Devandra says Philip Max from Augsburg. Now, Dave spent a lot of time in here last week watching Philip Max, so obviously I've started to see some of the stuff, because every time he was doing something crazy, Dave pulls over and like, oh, check this out. So Dave's got a scouting video, which I think he's either going up today or it might be next week, about Philip Max, which you definitely need to check out. I'm not sure he's defensively good enough, but to be honest, United, you don't really need to be the most solid defensive. We're looking for a fullback to basically be an attacking asset, aren't we? Nathaniel says balance to the squad is what we need, not a worldly one in one position like Bale. I agree, mate. It's also been shared. Thank you, Walter. Yeah, if you're going to share the video, that'd be greatly appreciated, everybody, because you know what? I don't know if it's just the wall-to-wall football, but the views are massively down for everybody on YouTube, so any shares are greatly appreciated. Thank you. Ramos is the #1 signing I'd take from Real. Oh, I'll tell you what, Mark, that's a hell of a shout. But there's absolutely zero chance. There's as much chance of us getting Ramos as it's Real Madrid announcing me as their new star signing this summer. I honestly think they're about the same chance of both of those things happening. Chong needs to get game time. Keep an eye out on the tour, Nitesh, because I actually think you're going to see Chong and probably Gomez, and maybe a little surprise one as well on the tour. So keep your eye out on the tour. It's only a few weeks away now. You're going to see some bangers coming through on there. Right then, so the last one that we wanted to talk about, Rakitic. Now, I thought, this is just coincidental timing. He has a good game against Argentina. Report starts to appear last night. But I actually think there might be something in this. So Rakitic, Barcelona midfielder, he's got the second most completed passes in the league, and he's got a 90% pass completion rate in the league last season. He might want to finish his career in Spain, if that's according to a couple of the reports. Highly rated Croatian. He did start 31 La Liga games last season, but they think he's going to struggle to survive an overhaul at the new camp this summer, and he could be looking elsewhere because he doesn't want to finish, or enter his 30s sitting on the bench somewhere. Now, I believe that Ander Herrera is leaving. I think he's probably going to go to Spain. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go one way and Rakitic come the other, especially when you consider the money involved. 35 million is a bargain buy, and United don't usually get bargain buys. But if we could get someone like a Rakitic, it's not a Carrick replacement, because we haven't really played too much of Carrick to really replace him, have we? But it's a player that controls the tempo of a game. Now, Fred isn't going to control the tempo of a game. Fred's going to move the ball up through the thirds very quickly. Pogba's the one that you want to be controlling the tempo of a game, which he's kind of been doing for France, but you also want Pogba as far up the pitch as possible and making things happen in the final third. And then you've got Matic, who is your destroyer, he's your defensive block. So arguably there is still a need for that more of a cultured passing midfielder that can move it around and make things happen in that midfield. If United can speed up that transition, now this is where the ball-playing defenders come in. If you've got ball-playing defenders that are comfortable in possession, they can get it into midfield, into a midfielder who's in a good position, in good space, and that midfielder can move it into the forwards. It sounds simple, but it's obviously one of the hardest things to do in football. But getting it through the thirds really fast is going to transform what United do. That's how you can become an effective counter-attacking side, and that's what United have really lacked. We've lacked the pace, not in people running and dribbling with the ball. We've lacked the pace in how fast it takes us to get from the back to the front. That's been a real issue for us. 35 million is a bargain, says Ryan. 100% take him. Claude says, Howson, what do I think about a 4-4-2 diamond with Matic as the anchor, Fred on the right, Savage on the left, Pogba at the pinnacle, and Lukaku, Sanchez up front? I wouldn't rule it out until I've seen it, mate. It could, in theory, happen, but I think to make that work, you've got to have absolutely shit-hot fullbacks, and there is no way that we've got the fullbacks capable of playing that formation at the moment. I think that's the big issue. Rakitic or Herrera, for Herrera is a good swap deal, says Lou. Obviously, yeah, Herrera potentially wants to go back and play under Valverde. We should buy Jordan Lukaku, says Darkside. That's an interesting one. Who would be my realistic first, second and third choice centre-back transfers? I really want Alderweireld, but obviously dealing with Daniel Levy means you've got to dance with the devil, and the money that guy's going to command is going to be obscene. So I think that's going to be a careful one. Second choice, I like Longley. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's shown us against us last season. He'd be a real asset. Aside from that, Tuanzebe. I want to see Tuanzebe given an opportunity. The guy's one of the most natural defenders I've ever seen. I think he's 20 now. It's the right opportunity to start getting first-team games. As a centre-half, he played a lot at Villa at right-back, didn't really impress. The guy's not a right-back. He's a centre-half and one of the best. And I think he needs to be given an opportunity to prove that. Do I think Shaw will be sold? Yes, I do. Where do I see Gomez fitting into the team? In the first team, says Siram. I'm probably going to do a preview, a youth review, looking at some of the lads that I think are going to go on tour and how they can fit into the existing first team framework. Looking at the players like those players that we expect, like maybe Lukaku, some of the English players, Matic, that we think we're probably going to hit the quarters or later in the World Cup. So we'll get rid of those guys and we will have a look at the existing academy players that I've kind of been told are going on the tour, and we'll have a look at where they could fit in with everybody who's left and see what sort of formations we can come up with. For me, Angel Gomez is Andres Iniesta, so you want to play him as the attacking component in a midfield three, really. Number 10 doesn't really suit him. He's better dictating tempo from a little bit further back. I saw someone compare him to Ronaldinho and I just thought, just say you've never watched him. I think he's a very, very intelligent footballer whose vision is phenomenal. There was a time, it was Liverpool in the Youth League last season where Gomez had been played sort of off the main man. And it wasn't until United was super chasing the game and we'd put maybe 5 or 6 forwards on, when we still had Gomez on and we still had Burkhardt who started the match. And because of this, Gomez had to move back. And once he moved back, the passes that we started to make, I think Jimmy Garner had an excellent season. And on the nominations for Young Player of the Year, he should have won it over Chong, because Chong only played 6 games in the 18s. James Garner couldn't find the pass. He didn't have the passing range to be able to find Laird, who at fullback, right fullback, was in acres of space all the time. As soon as Gomez got dropped back to that sort of 6, that sort of Pirlo kind of quarterback role, he was finding Laird in space, in behind their defence all the time, and United nearly pulled the game back because of that, literally from that one switch with the passing range that Angel Gomez has got. Now, when you're seeing the highlights on YouTube of Gomez and he's got quick feet and he's beating men and he's doing this, that and the other in the area, you don't see that side of his game, but that's the side of his game that really impresses me the most. It's his passing range and his vision, and I think that he could really do that in an area for Manchester United. I don't expect him to be part of the first team squad regularly this season. I think he'll be more learning, but if he gets the opportunity off the bench like he did last season in the Cup, or he gets the opportunity on tour, he's got to stand up and impress, and I believe he can do it as well. Apex says, do I think the 100 million of Marshall is from United or his agent or a complete rumour? It's probably it's euros more than pounds, I think, but I think it's probably from United. And I think United are just setting a real high transfer. United get rinsed, don't we, when we sell players all the time. And I think United are just setting a high valuation so we don't get rinsed this time. Because it's an absolute nightmare, isn't it? We let players go for essentially peanuts, and then anybody that we buy, even average players, we just get nailed on them, don't we? And financial fair play, unfortunately, does apply to us as well, so we do have to balance the books at least somewhat with transfers. Mark says, really excited to watch Gomez get introduced to the first team next season and a couple of over the next couple of years. Yeah, very excited, but I think Mason Greenwood might overtake him just because of his size. He doesn't have the same level of touch that Gomez has got, but he's just got this Ronaldo-level knack of finding a goal, whether you play him on the left, you play him on the right, or you play him up front. I think he's going to be introduced as a number 9. I think it's a bit early for him yet to be seeing first-team games, but you know what? I think once he does, Mason Greenwood's going to light the world up big time. If we have another youngster break out this year, who would it be and why? I think it could be Chong, again because of his height. I mean, he's very slight, he's got the skinniest legs I've ever seen, but he's tall and he's very aggressive, and I think that aggression is going to carry him through that little transitional phase that sometimes young players struggle with. Very brave when he runs with the ball, and I think that if he's given the chance, and if he's given the opportunity, because of how direct and fearless he is and quick, and let's face it, very skillful as a winger as well, and because of the need for United for someone who can play off the right, I think he'll get his opportunity on the tour, and I think he'll impress people, and that might be enough, like McTominay last season, to keep him in and around the first team squad. Gomez is overrated, says somebody who's probably never seen the guy. Gomez is not overrated. Gomez is one of the best players I've ever seen at his age group. Do I think Marshall will become world class in the future, says Anthony Marshall. Yeah, I think he probably will, and I don't think it'll be at United, and that's probably a nightmare. Marshall FC will turn on Jose if he's sold. I fully expect it to happen, to be honest with you. Right then, let's finish up on the outs, the players that we think are going to be leaving then. So Anthony Marshall continually linked with an exit. Conflicting reports coming from the club and the player's agent, something which I think they're playing the game. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. The agent's playing the game, saying it's time to go. United are going, well, we're not selling you. Now, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Like, Marshall probably doesn't want to go that badly, but he's like, well, I'm going to have to go to get matches. And the club are like, well, we'd like to keep you, but we will sell you if the right offer comes in. I don't think Mourinho likes him. Whether or not that's the right or wrong thing to do, I think he's going to cash in on him. I just don't know who is going to be able to afford it at the moment. The player's agents come out and said that Marshall would have left early if it wasn't for the fan support. Does that mean he's less likely to move to another club in England? Bang it in the comments, let me know what you think. And the surprise one linked with an exit is Victor Lindelof. Now, of all the different high-profile names that Marco Silva's reportedly looking at, Lozano has been one. Victor Lindelof is arguably United's only true ball-playing centre-half, and I was a little bit disappointed that at the start of the season, I give him a bit of stick because I didn't think he was up to it defensively. He'd sorted that out by the end of the season, and he actually looked like our best defender. Inexplicable why he didn't play in the FA Cup final for me. Inexplicable. He was arguably our best defender on that run-in, and I really wanted to see more of him. I can't imagine United would be happy to let him go to Everton now. I don't know if that's because I refuse to believe that Jose can't rate him, or if it's because I'm just stubborn and thinking surely that means if he goes, that means that Smalling and Jones are probably going to have to stick around, and that makes me want to throw open my mouth a little bit. Lindelof's better than both of them, and I don't think that the club's going forward if you keep hold of both of them and allow Lindelof to go. But it's not the sort of clickbait rumour that you expect, is it? Lindelof to Everton, who's clicking that? So there might be something in that, and that is terrifying. Yeah, that's the one. Right, I am going to leave it up there, but thank you guys for tuning in. This is every Friday at lunchtime. It's on Facebook, it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter, it's not on Twitter, that was a lie. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, and you guys can get involved in the comments and give us your thoughts on what's going on with the transfers as well. As I said at the top of the show, let me just get it back on the right one. It's that one. You guys can come and get involved with Dribble over here as well. So this is my team that I'm putting in today at 1 o'clock. You've got half an hour. Go and download the app. It's a free app, and you get a free entry to win the potential of 20 grand. So hit the link in the description below. Download Dribble. Win yourself some dosh, and hopefully you can pull out a decent team as well. Send me your screenshot with the link on Twitter. I'll retweet all of those. And thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Welcome to the Stephen Howson Football Channel. This is where I will take you through everything that I do revolving around football, be it that at Old Trafford or elsewhere. This is where you'll get your match previews, your reviews, your football vlogs, your scout reports, your transfer talk, your youth reviews, your documentaries, and anything and everything revolving around football. I absolutely love this game. Do me a favour and subscribe. Thank you for watching.